Hey, so it is now March, and that means that we need to talk about the books that I read in February. So I only read 3 books this month, and I actually think that's because I am kind of stuck on one of the series that I'm reading. I'm really struggling to get into it. Um, it's kind of like a high fantasy type book, and I don't know if I'm just too stupid for that kind of book or what, but I'm really struggling with it, so I might DNF it. I'm really gonna try to push through, but I am not liking it at all so far. So we will see what happens with that. But I did read 3 books, and my goal is to read 3 or more books a month, so I still met my goal. And I'm still proud of that, even though it's only 3 books. So let's talk about the first book that I read this month. The first one that I read this month is Reluctantly Yours by Erin Hawkins. This is a book that I actually read with a few friends in our little book club that we have. So this is a romantic comedy where they have a little bit of the forced proximity trope going on, and they also are fake dating. So Chloe, the female main character, works for Barrett's mom, and he is the male main character. He owns this big company that his mother's business runs under, and Chloe is his mother's assistant, so he sees her quite a lot. And Barrett is trying to make this big business deal with another prominent businessman in the area. And he mistakenly tells this man that he has a girlfriend who would get along really well with his girlfriend. And he's like, wow, we should have them meet and see if they hit it off. So he needs to find a girlfriend on short notice and ends up convincing Chloe to do so. So I thought this book was really cute. I really like the fake dating trope. I think it's adorable. And so I gave this book 3 stars. Like I said, it was really cute. There was a little bit of spice. It wasn't too much spice either. It was actually a really cute read. And the next book that I read, and my favorite one this month, is Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. This is book 2 in the Rose Hill series. This book follows Weston and Skylar. I related to this book so much because I am from a small town. I grew up on a horse farm, and Weston owns a horse farm where he trains horses. And so I've always loved the idea of a small town cowboy, and Weston is the perfect example of a small town cowboy. He is so sweet to her. The banter is amazing, and I ate up every second of this book. So Skylar is a country artist, and Weston is a huge fan of her. But when he meets her, he doesn't want to make it that obvious and kind of like scare her away. So the opening scene in this book is Skylar pulled over onto the side of the road in this small town, and she is trying to take a selfie and film with a grizzly bear in the background. And he pulls over and saves her from the grizzly bear. So, yeah, like I said, really cute. I related to this book so much. This is by far my favorite Elsie Silver book. She was quickly becoming one of my favorite authors just from the first book I read, but this one solidified how much I love her writing, and I will be buying every single book from her. So let me read you my favorite quote from Wild Eyes, and if this quote does not convince you to read it simply because of how Weston talks, then I don't know what's gonna convince you to read this book. You just need to read the series. That's all it is. So this is what Weston says to Skylar. He says, "Breathing is overrated. I'd rather be drowning in you." That's all I need to say. Like, come on. He's perfect. I don't know what else to tell you. He's perfect. He is my dream man. He is one of my top book boyfriends. Weston Belmont. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. I gave this book 5 stars. So, the last book that I read this month is called Knights of Iron and Ink by Shannon Dury. I actually have 2 copies of this book because when I ordered the first one, the pages were falling out. So, like, you can see where they're like kind of falling out. I ordered this book and started reading it. And as I was reading this book, the pages started coming out. I was like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? I cannot read a book like this. And I mean, like, this whole section right here in the front, all of these pages are falling out. It's crazy. So I contacted Amazon because I ordered this book off Amazon and they sent me another copy. And I did not have any issues with the second one that they sent me. So that was great. I will say, because of the issues that I had with the first book, I was not expecting to like this book. Because, I don't know, in my head I just thought maybe it was like cheap and not well written, but I was proven wrong because this book was actually really interesting. This is about a girl named Vera who grew up living in the woods with a witch. So she ends up stealing from the Enforcer, who is a Fae warrior and is basically immortal. And his job is to enforce the rules of no stealing from the Fae. So she ends up stealing from him on accident, and their paths cross, not for the first time, and they end up going on this journey together. So this was actually really good. There was a lot of interesting parts to this. I struggled a little bit to get into it at first, but I noticed that the longer I read, the more that I did not want to put it down. And so I finished this one fairly quickly, and I ended up giving this book 4.5 stars. I really, really loved this book. It was really good. And I am currently reading the second book right now, so I'm sure I will tell you all about that one next month. And like I said at the beginning, February was a bit of a crazy month. It's a shorter month, first of all, and things just felt a little off this month, so I'm hoping I will read more books next month. I'm slowly coming out of my book slump, so we shall see how that goes. And hopefully I will have more to talk about next month.